In this video, I'm going to cover everything you need to know about the European market and if you should sell to the EU or you should stick to the US market, okay? Both markets are great and both have their pros and cons, and very first of all, there's no right or wrong thing. However, I'm going to list the pros of both markets and the cons of both markets so you can actually weigh up and understand what's better for your specific situation. So in Europe, there's basically four main problems, all right? Number one, there's a language barrier for your customer support. So for example, if you live in the US and you want to sell to the Netherlands, it's valid and you might even try that and it's not a problem at all. However, there's going to be a language barrier in two different places. Number one, creating the store and making the ads. Obviously, you will need to have a person who's going to translate it for you. If you have a person you can actually trust with the language and with their ability of copywriting, then it's not a problem. If you don't, it might be a problem. On top of that, after you get customers, the next problem occurs, and it's basically customer support, okay? Every single customer is going to write you in their language and not in English, and they're also going to expect you to answer in their language. So the customer support is basically going to be more expensive because now immediately you need to have not a Filipino person doing the customer support for you, but a person from the Netherlands or a person who speaks Dutch. Now on top of that, there's another problem, which is basically VAT tax, okay? In different areas of the world, there's different regulations for VAT tax. So just to make it short and explain what VAT even is, if you get $100 from a customer, in different areas of the world, the number is going to be different. However, let's say in Germany, it's 19%. Okay, so 19 euros from 100 euros you're going to get are gone immediately from the revenue. And that means that your margins immediately go down to 80. Okay, and that's very important to understand because if you lose money, but you make some sales, you still have to pay VAT tax. So let's say you make $100 in revenue, however, you spend $200 to actually make those $100, you still have to pay VAT tax on those 100. So this is going to give you a little bit of an extra risk because if you make money, you need to pay taxes obviously, but if you don't make money, you also need to pay taxes. However, there are ways to get around it, especially if you don't live in the EU or you live somewhere else, then it's going to be much better and much easier to get around it, but there's still going to be issues with that and you need to really understand what you're doing in terms of taxes. Now, the last problem I want to mention here is in different countries, products get are quicker to be saturated, okay? So for example, what I've seen is in Norway, a product which is going to get scaled is going to die down pretty quickly just because the market is so small, okay? And the differences in selling is basically that in those types of markets, in most of the EU countries, you should actually not go into a specific niche. You should not sell like a dog product because the audience is too little. Obviously, like France or Germany is huge, so it's not a problem. But Norway, for example, it's not going to be the best to go in a specific small niche. However, if you would, for example, sell a phone case or something which is for everybody, it's going to be better. It's going to be less likely to get saturated. So this advice of selling general products just applies to specific markets. And if you, for example, sell in the US, you should actually niche down and be very precise with your targeting. Now, those are all the cons you're going to have in the European market. Obviously, there's other things which are also going to be an issue. However, those are the main ones. Now let's get into the pros. And the main one is literally that it's easier to find a winning product. It's as simple as that. You're going to have less competition and it's just easier to actually find real winners in those types of unsaturated markets because you just have way less competition, okay? And this one thing could potentially outweigh all the rest, okay? I'm not saying that European market is better than the US because of the issues I mentioned in the beginning. However, it's easier to find winning products for sure. There's no doubt about it. Now, there are a lot of things you could actually do to find winning products in the US. There's also a couple of secret strategies which I cannot reveal on YouTube, which make it pretty simple actually to find winning products in the US. And it's basically going to counter this point of Europe being unsaturated. And there are actually a couple of things you can do in the US to get the ratio of winning products way higher. However, all in all, and especially for people who are just starting out, it is easier to find winners in the European market, okay? Especially if you don't really know what you're doing in the US. How you go about testing products in Europe is a little bit different than what you do in the US, okay? The number one thing which is different is that the tests are way quicker. So what I like to focus on with students of mine who are actually selling in Europe is they test quicker, more products, okay? In the US, they focus more on the quality of the product and everything has to be up to a standard. And in Europe, you basically mass test and test and test and test and test. And inside of a couple of weeks, if you test like 10 to 20 products in the first literally like couple of weeks, you can actually find the winner and then scale it. After spending like $50 to max $100 in ad spend, you should already know if this product is doing good or bad. Because in Europe, you're either going to have this like super winner, which is doing well, or something which is just trash and it doesn't work at all. Okay, so you're going to see this strong difference, and I would not focus on products which are breaking even. In the US, I would focus on products which actually are breaking even, and in Europe it just doesn't make so much sense because allocating the budget on testing just more products is going to find you a winner quicker. Now, talking about the US, there's basically a couple of main things. Number one, you obviously don't have the VAT problem, and I'm not a legal accountant, so I cannot like say that for sure for you. However, there's for sure going to be less tax issues, and also you're not going to have this language barrier. It's much easier for one single person without anybody translating anything or without you being unsure if this like Dutch product page is actually good or bad. You're going to be able to be more confident about your store, your ads, and your copy. Okay. However, again, it's going to be a little bit harder to find winners unless you have a couple of strategies in place which actually allow you to find winning products fairly quickly in the US. So if you actually want me to reveal the strategy to you, what you can do right now is comment the word secret strategy, and we're basically going to explain to you how it works. Okay? And also, if you want to work with me one-on-one and want me to guide you through the whole process of finding your first winning product or scaling a winner which you already have, then click the link below, sign up for a free consultation session with me personally. We're going to find out if it's a good fit. If yes, we're going to get started. It's a one-on-one program where I'm literally going to look over everything you do and tell you if you're going in the right or wrong direction. And yeah, see you there.